Ask me, King.
Why, Baba?
Ask me.
Why didn't you bring the boy home?
Ask who I am.
He was the truth I chose to omit.
You've heard it 1,000 times. Killmonger was right and Thanos was right. But let's be real, Marvel doesn't treat them the same. One gets stamped on mugs and bathroom stalls. The other? It's been echoing through the MCU's biggest stories, carving its way into the future and even saving the whole planet. And once you realize the reason behind that difference, it'll change the way you look at both characters forever. Let's begin. If you strip away the action, both slogans are about pain and policy. Killmonger's pain is human, personal, and historical. Thanos' pain is abstract and cosmic. And Marvel handles those two kinds of pain very differently on purpose. Start with Killmonger. Eric Stevens isn't some generic world destroyer. He's the most human antagonist the MCU's put on screen. His anger is rooted in real-world history, colonialism, the African diaspora, the abandonment of black communities in places like Oakland. That's why his presence lands so hard. He's not lying. Wakanda did hide. The rest of the world did suffer. And he did get left behind. Now, his solution, conquering and burning the world, is wrong. But the pain fueling that solution is undeniable. And Marvel treats it seriously. In Black Panther, T'Challa doesn't just beat him, he listens. The real climax isn't Eric's death, it's T'Challa realizing his cousin's critique is valid. The proof is in the ending. Wakanda opens its borders, sets up an outreach center in Oakland, and steps into the world stage. Ryan Coogler has even said the ending was rewritten so T'Challa would evolve through Killmonger's challenge, not just win a fight. Now, compare that to Thanos was right. His plan is a math problem disguised as mercy erase half the universe and resources magically balance. Infinity War presents his logic clearly enough, but Endgame does not show our heroes deeply engaging that reasoning. They fight to reverse the genocide and restore everyone, full stop. In the moral register, that's the correct response. Thanos' thesis is a cosmic Malthusian shortcut. Resources are finite, so kill half of life and the other half prospers. Marvel tends to stage Thanos was right at a distance. When it appears, it's often filtered through satire. The MCU lets people repeat the phrase, but notice how it shows up. In Hawkeye, it's scrawled as bathroom graffiti and printed on a novelty mug. It's not treated as a genuine platform, it's cultural noise. It's a meme inside the MCU itself, something people whisper or laugh about, but never build a real movement around. Even serious post-blip storytelling usually focuses on social aftershocks, not on the core claim that genocide could be justified. That's a defensible ethical choice. Some ideas should be rejected outright, but it means the franchise doesn't interrogate the thesis with the same nuance. The result is a slogan that echoes but doesn't evolve the characters who encounter it. Even when Marvel pushes deeper, like in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's not Thanos' logic that gets explored. Instead, we get the GRC, a messy bureaucracy trying to repair a post-blip world, and the Flag Smashers, who argue that the world was more united during the blip. Again, it's not about validating Thanos. It's about showing how human systems strain and fail when billions disappear and reappear. The heroes wrestle with compassion and politics, not math equations about population control. There's one fascinating wrinkle. Eternal suggests the blip delayed a planet, destroying emergence because it temporarily halved Earth's population. Some viewers read that as the universe itself admitting Thanos had a point. But even there, the film places heroes in direct opposition to that utilitarian arithmetic. They choose to save Earth despite cosmic efficiency. The narrative's moral center still rejects the idea that ends justify genocidal means. Meanwhile, Killmonger's critique doesn't fade. It echoes. Wakanda Forever opens with Queen Ramonda standing before the United Nations, humiliating countries that tried to steal vibranium. That scene is the direct consequence of Killmonger's challenge years earlier. Wakanda is open now, and with openness comes global tension. And when Shuri finally meets someone on the ancestral plane, it isn't her brother, it's Killmonger. His presence forces her to face the choice between vengeance and mercy, between rage and stewardship. His ideology keeps pressing the story forward. And here's where Eyes of Wakanda flips everything on its head. Because the show doesn't just remind us of Killmonger's argument, it cements him as a literal hinge in Wakanda's history. The finale follows Wakandan warriors in 1896 trying to recover a vibranium axe, the same kind of weapon Killmonger later sees in the British Museum. But the twist? A future Black Panther arrives with a warning: don't bring it home. Let the axe stay out in the world, because in one timeline, Wakanda never confronts its isolation, and Earth gets consumed by a cosmic threat called the Horde. Leaving the weapon out there ensures that, decades later, Killmonger finds it in that museum. His theft, his confrontation with T'Challa, and the chain of events that forces Wakanda to open up, that's the moment the planet's survival depends on. Think about that. Eyes of Wakanda reframes Killmonger from angry cousin with a tragic backstory to the hand that turns the hinge of history. His theft isn't just personal revenge anymore. It's the spark the universe itself needs to avoid destruction. That makes Killmonger was right more than an ethical debate. It makes it narrative architecture. Without him, the right timeline never happens. If you liked Killmonger before, Eyes of Wakanda deepens why you should care, not by exalting his methods, but by explaining how his moment fits into a larger plan. If you thought Killmonger was right was clickbait, now you have to admit it's also a plot mechanic. That's what lifts it out of the meme graveyard and puts it into high-stakes storytelling. And because Marvel made the hinge deliberate, an artifact left in the world on purpose to steer history, the conversation shifts from who had truth to how do we respond to truth without becoming the thing we hate. That's a far more interesting question for writers, fans, and the characters themselves. Compare that to Thanos. His ideology never gets elevated into necessity. It gets turned into cultural wallpaper, mugs, graffiti, awkward jokes in therapy sessions. The MCU acknowledges that people might sympathize with his solution, but it refuses to let the heroes, or the story, take it seriously as a moral path forward. In fact, characters like Sam Wilson spell out the opposite. The answer isn't subtraction, it's compassion, it's listening, it's doing the hard human work Thanos skipped. And that's why Killmonger was right gets respected, while Thanos was right gets memed. Killmonger represents a moral challenge grounded in history, one the hero must acknowledge and act on, even if his methods are condemned. Thanos represents a shortcut, a way to sidestep empathy with a coin flip. One sparks growth, the other gets laughed off. So now I want to hear from you. If Eyes of Wakanda made Killmonger a literal hinge of history, does that make his legacy more powerful than Thanos' snap? Or do you think Marvel still went too far in giving him that weight? Drop your thoughts below, because this debate is just getting started. And if you love diving deep into the Killmonger versus Thanos debate, make sure to like and hit that subscribe button, because we're breaking down the biggest Marvel moments every week. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. See you in our next video.